Hello, everybody. How y'all doing out there? This is your buddy Larry Poncho Brown doing our end of year wrap up. I've been sitting around saying, I haven't talked to my people in a while. So how y'all doing? If any of you guys want to come in, join me on the show, go to either my Facebook page, either one of them. There's a spot there that has a link into the studio. If you want to talk, you want to say something that happened. Maybe talk about something where you saw me this year, some of the things you'd like to see next year. We're going to have a little conversation. I'll be here for a little while just talking about my year in review because so many things happened this year. Hopefully each one of you had a prosperous year. I know I had a prosperous year. I know many of my other artist friends had prosperous years. What is a prosperous year? That means it exceeded your expectations for the year. My year exceeded my expectations were, and I can relate to all the artists right now that are feeling the pinch of the economy, the pinch of how difficult and challenging it is to do marketing nowadays. I'm with you. I'm in the trenches trying to deal with the same thing. So. What I'm saying to you is that if you don't want to succeed in this current time, something might be wrong with you. Simply put, as you look behind me, you see that tornado of stuff back there. Because it's really been that kind of year. In the year of COVID, we completely shut down. We stopped having public events. Shifted to online, and that was part of how we survived. I also found a way to, hey, Pamela Hills up with an S, to teach my artist friends how to broadcast. And many of us, we aggressively tried to cultivate this thing, and now it's turned into something completely different, which is fantastic. I love when things morph and change to benefit us. As artists, man, we... Look, let me explain something to you. I'm speaking to you ones that are successful artists get it. The successful artists realize how big the playing field is. They're not let down or challenged by the obstacles that average artists are being faced with. The new artists don't know where to go, how to network, how to sell, how to market, where are the venues, how do I start? And it's a very difficult thing. I came through a period of time where there was a movement in place. I basically came in at the beginning of that movement, and it fortified my business probably for the rest of my life. My work is all over the United States, all over the world. And so my suggestion to all artists is, man, use the media. Use technology. It's waiting for you. It's just waiting for you to learn it. Take the time to learn. Look, if a 60-year-old man can take time to learn how to use social networking, Facebook, Instagram, any other ones you want to use, because I know there's 1,000 of them out there, and most of you are at least participating in one or two. But then this whole streaming thing, man, do you understand how magical this is? I still got artists now that haven't actually pressed the live button yet. And I'm wondering, what are you waiting for? 2023, put on your note to get online. Is it going to get saturated soon? Absolutely it will. But Facebook got it locked down already. They don't want us reaching too many people. So as long as you reach a certain amount of cross-section of your people, it's still going to benefit you. I was able during COVID to make more money in sales than I had made the prior 10 years. That's how magical this environment is. So I'm glad you guys have been able to keep up with us. I hope my signal's strong enough today. I haven't been online for months, and there's been a reason for it. I had a prosperous year. I did some things in the beginning part of the year just to get myself motivated and going, There's some things I wanted to share with you, and I'm speaking to my artists out there too. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of stimulate yourself for the next year. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I think that after a while, Hey, what's up, Miss Wise? How you doing? Hey, if any of y'all want to join me on the show, just chime in, go to my Facebook page, hit that link, come into the studio. I'll bring you on. We can talk. Hey, what's happening? Yeah, that's right, Miss Hills. It's, look, this sister right here. We go way back. We had some discussions. I had to sit her down and say, hey, you know, sister, you know, you came out strong, you were maintaining, and now you're losing time. You know, we go through marriages, there's all kinds of setbacks and fallbacks, and the kids growing and this, that, and the other. But this sister took the baton and ran with it. There's a couple sisters I really admire. I'm gonna name them. Pamela Hills is one. Sylvia G Baby Cohen is the second. They have taken advantage of this online environment, this streaming environment, and they're really connecting to their customers. I can't tell you, all you artists are sitting on your ass. Yes, I said ass, because that's what you're sitting on. It is such a time right now for you to benefit from your craft. If you're doing anything right now that's creative, the world is in your palms right now. I'm gonna tell you why. 20 years ago, you couldn't afford to print stuff. You couldn't afford to afford video equipment. You couldn't afford, I mean, I can go down a list. Cameras were a challenge to have. You know, now, this day and age, your phone camera is as strong as the cameras we had, the real cameras we had 20 years ago. All that stuff is affordable, and it's in your hands. Why do you have a phone in your hand when you can only, like, play on Facebook or play on Instagram, but you're not saying this thing can actually generate me some money? I don't get it. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm cut out of a different cloth. Maybe I just see the world a little different. But all I'm saying to you is, if you got one of these suckers right here, and you're not online trying to promote your wares, something's wrong with you. Don't blame the world. Don't blame the economy. Don't blame nothing but yourself, because other artists are getting it. If you got a Facebook page, well, I watch who I let in. Get over yourself. You just tripping. If you got 150 people you let in, then what is wrong with you? This is not a mailbox outside of your house. Nobody don't want you that bad. If you are planning to promote yourself, you got to be available to as many people as you can. So if you struggling with everybody who is anybody who has a following, your personal Facebook page should be full. If it ain't at 4,000 and you just playing. If you're still checking to make sure that nobody don't show up outside your window, stay in that safe place. It's not for you. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but to not use it, to me, there's something wrong with that. Okay, so I'm just saying that if it wasn't for the advancements in technology, I would not have been as prosperous in this last couple of years as I had been. I am truly embracing all things technical, and there's a lot more I can learn. Thank you so much, Mr. Mario Nicholson. Hey, some of y'all are looking and listening. If you want to have a conversation with me, please go on my Facebook page, either one of them. You'll see a spot that says join the show. Click that link. You'll come into my studio. We could just chit chat. You know, I can say some of that stuff. Y'all might have questions you want to ask. Hey, Linda Tucker. Linda Tucker probably know me better than anybody, so she's probably laughing at the fact that I said ass. That's right, because you're sitting on it. That's right. It's time. It's time to move. Y'all keep acting like y'all got so much time. You're thinking about stuff. You're not implementing stuff. You're coming up with ideas, but you're not birthing them. You know, I know I'm talking to a lot of y'all, and y'all can hear what I'm saying. You know, I'm tired of, look, I'm sick of you idea people that have the nerve to be able to suggest to me what I should be doing. If you are suggesting what somebody else should be doing what you see, you have forgotten that these folks have already invested time, sweat, tears, and all kinds of other stuff for you to make your little last-minute ass quarterback sideline decision. Okay? So if you got an idea that you're going to perpetuate, hey, Do it for yourself. Don't insult another creative by telling them what they should be doing. And if you are creative, it's time to take your ideas from A to Z. It ain't gonna get done no other way. How many of you create an idea? Oh, you feel fantastic. You do just a little something, but you never actually get it completed, implemented, or done. I'm not saying I'm perfect, brothers, because I and sisters, I've been guilty of that. I had begun projects and not finished them. But what I started learning was that if I wasn't willing to bring things to fruition, that I was just sitting still in a mindless coma. Thinking is a coma. Just because you thinking about it don't mean it's getting done. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I am. I'm like trying to say, hey, let's really have some fun in 2023. How you doing, Pia? Thank you so much. Mr. Mario, you were saying it. That's the truth. Most of us got more time behind us than ahead of us. But the reality is, y'all not seeing the playing field. It's wide open, y'all. Do y'all really understand that? It is. It's wide open. You could any idea you have now, and there's a place for it. There's not many people that's going to be blocking your shot. Only person going to block your shot is you. Hey, what's up, Mr. Marcellus? Do you self-print or do you like drop shipping? How do you fill out Shopify or Etsy? I basically have my own G-Clay system here. I invested in a G-Clay system. It's not for everybody to invest in a G-Clay system. But if you're going to a G-Clay printer and you're getting 10 of your prints done, and they're costing you $75 to $100 a piece, it might be time for you to think about buying a G-Clay system. I'm not going to lean on that too hard because it's not for everybody. If you don't have somewhat a knowledge of Photoshop, if you got a knowledge of Photoshop, there is nothing stopping you. If you don't and you have to learn that, then maybe that be one of the things you learn in 2023. How to do basic stuff in Photoshop. That's all you need to be able to run one of those machines. I don't mind drop shipping. Let me explain something to you about drop shipping. A drop ship, for those of you who don't know what a drop ship is that customer, it might even be a gallery, it might be a person that's buying from somebody else, but they want you to send it to a specific address. Normally, when you drop ship to a customer, you don't put your receipts and promotional materials in it. Because I have dealers that are buying from me offline and then having me ship so they don't have to ship it. They just don't want my paperwork going in because we try to protect certain customer lines. But what I love about a drop ship is I get the customer's information. So I don't have no problem with you giving me your customer's information. If that's what you want to trade off for the shipping, I will gladly do the shipping. Okay. So now I don't have a problem with that. So we do self-publish here and we do drop ship. And my website is a Shopify website. For those of you that are struggling right now, trying to figure out what to do with your website or whether it needs to be upgraded or whatever, Shopify is what's been working for me. I also have more than one website. I know. Why? Well, who said you had to have one website? McDonald's don't have one location. Most of the main stores don't have one location. So why are you trying to survive one location? Two locations mean there's two opportunities for people to see you. So I have my old website still up. It is functional. It's probably not as functional as my new one. But my strategy for 2023, I'm going to share some of those things with you. I plan to do a Shopify and a Square store next year because those are the two main platforms that people are doing sales with. Those are the two places where I exchange the most currency. Okay. Yes, I'm utilizing Cash App and other stuff and Venmo, and you can go 1,000 places. But your website, half of y'all website ain't up to speed. Yeah, it's cute. Yeah, it shows some of your work. But is it functional? When I say is it functional, is it a store? Is it when you go in, they can buy, or do they have to read a whole bunch of stuff about you first? That's what social networking is for. If you want to do all that stuff on your social networking pages. Make sure your shop is a store ready to purchase from without too many distractions. If you want to see the difference, I have my old website, which is Larry Poncho Brown, or theartofponcho.com. Okay. So let me see if I put that on the screen for you. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff online while I'm talking to y'all. I want you to have active examples of what I'm talking about. That website is my oldest website right there. And if you want to see an example of what my old one looks like versus my new one, that's my old one. We do several $1,000s a year on that particular site. But my new site has now begun the bulk of my sales. If you notice, I played with my company name. How many of y'all got a company name? I've been preaching this to my artists all month, all year. I know it's a year in review, but I got so many things that have come up repeatedly that I need to touch on. So if I jump around, I apologize for that. I want you to know I got two websites. One is better than the other. I want you to go see what they look like so you can understand why. Adjust your websites accordingly. If it's not a store ready to sell and it's got a bunch of information and bios and all this other stuff about you, you might be distracting folks from buying from you. When you go into my LarryPonchoRun.net site, you go into the site, you just have your card ready. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. I want to talk about that. Artists keep coming to me with similar problems and issues. But hey, if y'all brave, we got a couple people in the studio today as I do my year in review. My year in review show. It's the first time I decided to do that. Yeah, don't be distracted by all the stuff you see behind you. Right now, I have two major exhibitions going on. One show has 60 pieces. The other show has 55 pieces. I know you can do your math. That's over 100 pieces at two shows. I have two more shows coming up in January, so I'm preparing for those now. But ask yourself, could you do two locations with more than one show? Hey, you know what? I got one person's coming in. I'm an avid follower of hers. I go to her art cave. If you haven't seen Pamela Hill's art cave, please tune into her show. The girl is talented. I don't even call her girl, but you know what I mean. I'm not being derogatory, y'all. I haven't got to the proper pronouns and all that stuff yet, so please bear with me. If I say guys, don't be offended. It's just my language. It's my channel, so I'm going to talk the way I want to talk. I'm not here to appease nobody. If you don't like the way I talk, tune out. This girl right here, I have the utmost respect for because she is playing her game and she's seeing the results of playing the game. She got awarded her first calendar, I think last year. I think the calendar went well. I think she's on her second calendar. G-Baby Cohen is another sister that I work with who is she's a beast. These are women that are not playing. And they're doing a lot in their communities and they're doing a lot to uplift a lot of people. And I really have a lot of respect for them. I have a great camaraderie with artists. Artists are my first line. I tell you first, most of my friends are artists. I cannot survive in a world without my artists because I spend most of my time justifying who I was to people before I realized I had to have artists for friends. So I see Pamela just dropped out. I'm gonna wait till her Wi-Fi kicks back in and we're gonna bring her back into the studio. Hey, what's going on? What's going on there, Fran? Thank you so much. Girl, I appreciate you. Fran was at my secret soiree that happened last week. So, I'll tell you more about that as I do my year in review. Yeah, so that's what's up with me, y'all. So, I started the year off. I was invited to a residency in Africa, in Ghana, last January. I left in January and I stayed for 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks, something like that. What I did was I basically went with an open mind. I didn't know what I was expecting to do, but when I got there, I saw immediate need, and the immediate need was poverty's everywhere. I mean, I know we got poverty here, but poverty's everywhere, and so seeing people leveraging life with little, to me was it affected my spirit. So I went there. I met a small art studio. A friend of mine told me to go and see if I can help them. Dawn Sutherland, I like to mention my friends too. She's in Ghana. She lives in Ghana. She traveled with me to Ghana back in 2014 on one of my trips to Africa, and she bought a house there. And in the amount of time, 9 years, She now is sponsoring 300 students for school because it costs kids $100 for a year for their books, supplies, uniforms, all that kind of stuff. I'm inspired by that. Am I doing that stuff in my own community? I did that stuff in my own community for over 30 some years. And sometimes I'm gonna tell you, people in the US don't appreciate help. You know, nonprofit organizations, they're so busy grinding, trying to raise money every year that sometimes your efforts get lost because they're on the hustle and the grind. And I have learned that there's some people that don't feel entitled to your help. Back at home, people feel entitled to my help. They see Larry Poncho Brown. Larry Poncho Brown's supposed to be helping me. And sometimes they receive my help and don't say thank you. And that doesn't stop me from doing what I need to do because I've always been immersed in my community. But when I went to Africa, it was totally different. These people appreciated everything that I did. So I adopted an entire studio, 7 artists that range from the age of 17 up to 32. And I have been doing my best to help promote them, show them what to do, how to do the art business, how to sell internationally. And the work that they're doing is fantastic. As a matter of fact, next year, I'm going to have a feature on my webpage that's showing their work. We're going to be promoting their work and showing them and supporting them. So that was my January of my year in review. I did some work in Africa that I got to see manifest itself in a short amount of time. What I also did was I was living on a compound where the lady Dawn Sutherland and her students were kind of migrating through. A couple of them live on the compound. And so I was sketching with my iPad, trying to learn how to use Procreate. And I decided rather than just take pictures of these kids, I would just, well, let me go in my room and play around a little bit. So I found a way to create these images rather quickly using Procreate while trying to learn Procreate. And before you know it, I had 40 pieces done. Okay. So this is my year review. So I'm showing you some of the things I did. So maybe it'll spark something in you for next year. I didn't have any plans for those pieces. But what happened was I was posting them on Instagram. I was posting them on Facebook. A friend of mine from Children's Hospital in DC saw the pieces. He went and talked to his supervisor. And they said, Poncho, can we please house this show at our hospital? Poncho, can you put it in 3 locations? We got 3 locations. Can you do this for us? I'm like, absolutely. So here I was sketching in Africa just for fun, just enlighten the kids and let them see another standard of beauty. And all of a sudden, somebody in DC sees the show and they did a full-blown show of those pieces. That's how this thing works, y'all. You don't know who's watching, who's doing what. I'm going to pull my sister in here. This is my year of review, my year in review show. I'm going to go through each one of what I did. Hopefully it'll spark something in you for the next year. I don't believe in New Year's resolution. I believe in getting off your ass. Hey, what's up, girl? Look, y'all. I'm in love with this girl right here, so y'all can be jealous all you want.
What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Nothing too much sitting up here creating an arcade.
You better be creating an arcade. But see, that's what I like about her. See, she could be doing a lot of things right now. See, y'all, some of y'all not understanding. Y'all painting and y'all creating. I'm gonna play a quick game. Pamela, how many pieces do you think you created for 22?
Over 200 pieces.
Did y'all hear that? Look, I gotta make her head big on that one because that's y'all not getting it. Y'all not getting it. This girl right here, this one right here, this one, she actually did 200 pieces. You see, I made her head big because I don't want y'all to think this is just this ain't no joke. For all you new artists out there that's looking and you saying, yeah, I want to do that. I want to move more to myself.
You gotta create.
You gotta be disciplined, man. If you see that a lot of times we talk about the things we do that motivate other people or inspire our collectors, but we don't talk about one important word: discipline.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna have discipline, then please just give the room to somebody else.
Ooh.
So Pamela, tell them, how many shows did you broadcast this year?
Oh, out of 52 weekends, I appeared at least on 50.
Did you hear that, y'all? See, y'all. I wish I could make her head bigger than the screen because y'all not actually hearing what's happening. So she heard about this online opportunity. She had been laying lax for about 10 years, y'all.
10 years.
You know, and I don't want to let too much of her stuff out, but she was giving power to other people as the reason why she wasn't doing her work. And I just called into one of my little small Jesus meetings and said, baby, you lost a 10-year clip. Play catch up. Because the women, and I'm gonna say this, y'all can say I'm sexist. The women are doing something. Women, and this is not negative. I just want you to hear what I'm saying. There's a reason why there's more men that get exposure than women that get exposed. Because most women decide to take care of their children, their men, and everything else.
Yeah.
And then they circle back to their artwork once everybody seems to be on their track. That is why less women are being represented than men. And every woman you see that's kicking ass, they either gay, don't have no children. I'm just gonna lay it out, you know? And so my thing is that I have friends from every walk of life that do this work. There's no excuse why you can't do this work. What I want to tell you is the Creator gave you this ability, and you're either going to use it or not. But please don't bitch and moan if you ain't using it.
Right.
Talk to him, Pam. Talk to him. I need a break. Talk to him. Please.
Hey, Poncho, you came through at a time all the time when I needed a word. Now, I may have been in hiatus, but I kept my eyes open, you know? I kept my ears open, and the creativity, you're going to create anyway, but you know, you see where you're supposed to be, even when you're not knowing. Just like how you said, women will put their priority in their instincts, where as a mother, as a wife, as a you know, take care of the house, priority type of thing, and put everything on the back burner and never hardly put themselves first. But when we do come first and we do hear it and everything starts to chime in, you better have some enthusiasm, some drive, some get up and go to go get what's for you, because you know what's for you. Don't say you're tired now. I don't have time to say I'm tired. Poncho said,
now, I don't want y'all to get this twisted. This woman was working in a car dealership for many years too. Just before she said, I had enough. I'm going to devote to her art. And thankfully, her man, you know, I love Mr. Hills, because he supports her the way she's supposed to be supported, or any other person in this situation should be supported. I need support, y'all, but I'm not dependent on support. I mean, some people out there, they got to have that little nudge. Sometimes you got to move beyond waiting for people to nudge. You got to be the nudger.
Yeah.
You know?
Or you got to make a nudge. You got to create a nudge. Exactly. You got to make if you say, I ain't got a nudge, create a nudge. Well, what is a nudge to you? Find it within yourself what a nudge is to you. Because what I discovered in those 10 years is that I totally devoted myself to Toyota. They made sure I had cards. They give you diamond rings. They always give you clothes. You always represent you driving their cars. So when you come out of your place of work and you retire and you say, oh, I'm too tired to be an artist, everything you gave those 30 years, it was a chance for you to learn how to implement what you learned in those 30 years to your art.
Exactly.
Bring it back. Bring it in rotation. And you know, like I did start off sort of slow, and I had a conversation with Poncho, and he said, girl, you better run. You better run. You got a lot of catching up to do. And I've been running ever since.
And the reason I said that was because I had a couple conversations in the industry where me and some other guys were trying to come up with a list of the top 10 women artists.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you, the room got quiet.
Yeah.
People that we know that were manifesting, that were in the market, that were being consistent. Deborah Shedrick's name showed up. Karen Buster's name showed up. And there's a host of other people who's showed up. But there's some other people who've kind of retired. You know, Sylvia Walker's not out there like she used to be. When the market imploded, many people went their own way. I think many people fell into a place when the market imploded back in the middle, early 2000s.
Joy Smith.
Oh, it's a bunch of them. But you know, you got to still like really quantify the list of commercially successful artists, because you know you got the fine art women that's doing stuff, fine artists that's doing stuff. You got the commercially successful artists that's doing stuff. We are on the commercially successful side of it. So if you, our G Baby's on that list.
Yeah.
But everybody I had to talk to was in a zone. I mean, Karen Buster had a mysterious 10-year lapse.
Wow.
You know, life happened. You called it. Transition in between. That people had to go get a job, or they had to do some caregiving. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen. But let me explain something to you. The Creator gave you this ability for you to use. And so I want to keep on commending my folks that's doing things. Pamela Hills is one of those people.
Thank you, Poncho.
Thank you for tuning in and giving me your powerful words. I'm going to continue to support you for 23. You're going to be mad if you
always inspiring.
Well, you know, I got stuff. My studio is in total disarray. I wish I could just run a camera around here so y'all can see it. But I think I'm going to videotape it one week so y'all can come and see what the disarray my studio is in.
Well, that's
I'm looking around because there's something very, very important I want to show.
Hey, that's a creative space. That's a busy man. That's a disorganized man.
That's so busy running.
That's not making time to clean up.
All right, so in addition to doing art, creating art, I try to support my artists.
Yeah, you do.
So this is the last thing I bought from Pamela Hills. As you can see, I haven't even opened it yet.
Okay.
But it's going to get open. I just want to try to. Hey, y'all, if you're not supporting the other artists, if you're not spending your money with some of your people, look, you still have to be conscious enough to still spend your money with some Black vendors. I don't care who you are. If you ain't doing it, then shame on you. It's not just about artists, it's about Black business, period.
Yeah.
And so
that's your family.
I buy art, I collect art, I support my other artist friends. We support each other.
Absolutely.
I'm encouraging y'all to do that some more.
I appreciate your encouraging, and it takes a lot of courage to encourage. So I appreciate all the time your creative support, your encouragement, your staying positive, your motivation, your mentorship, all of that, Poncho.
I appreciate you, baby. You know, we're going to do. We put out on her show the other day that we're going to collaborate on something this year coming in. So be looking for that. We'll do a joint show or something. All right, Miss Hills. Look, I ain't gonna bother you because I see you got your light on, you got your hat pulled back over your forehead. you got the grind in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just rested. The last 2 days of the year, I'm doing nothing. This last week, I decided I was going to wind off my schedule.
Look at them hands. Look at them hands. See? Look at them hands.
Hey, no, they asked you because I've been chilling. But
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm just messing with you. You know, I believe that I gotta create the laugh because somebody do it to me.
Absolutely.
I came from the hood.
Yeah, you know how to. You keep a laugh on. Okay.
All right, Pamela Hills. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, y'all, if you brave like Pamela, please go out on my Facebook page, hit that link, and come on into the studio. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Hey, what's happening, Charles Fartman? Thank you so much for tuning in. This is my auntie. Thank you. She came to my look, y'all. This is my year in review. So I'm now just trying to give you an idea of what I did for the year. So I told you about January, right? So January was all about, and February was about my trip to Africa. I'm making reference to my calendar if y'all wonder why I'm off camera here. So how do y'all track what you're doing for the year? Now, I don't know, I wish I could show you this, but I do have a whiteboard with things that I want to do. I also have the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 8 years of my calendars. I'm an old school calendar person. So this is my, don't laugh at me. I know we got all this Google scheduling and all that. I do that sometimes too. But I just want you to see this is what my calendar looks like. This is my old school calendar. I get that Big Johnson you can write in. I put sticky notes. I block out when I'm going out of town. I block out certain things that happen. But I often compare year to year. Most people don't do that. And I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to go off camera for a second, but it's right in reach. Let me grab it real quick. So as you can see, this is a strategy that I use a lot. I hope some of y'all try it and see what happens. So this is my December 2021 calendar. And I sometimes will look at the year prior to see what my progress was, how many shows I did, what my emotional mood was. I got symbols that I use for that kind of stuff. If I was happy or whether I was going through something depressive. Sometimes you got to track your own schedule and your own productivity so you can know what's happening in your world. And sometimes, like I say, I do this 2 and 3 years back. So I take these calendars sometimes and I lay them out on the floor. Sometimes I'll lay out 3, 4, or 5 years at a time, turn them all in December, and look and see what my overview of my life was. Content of shows, how many events, meetings, exercising, when I do my broadcast, all of that stuff. This gives me an overview of my mood. If I want to have an easier year, I open up 5 years of my calendars and I figure out how to make it easier where I won't lose out on money. I can figure out whether I need to be more productive. I can look and see what I produced in 2021 versus 2022. I'm just saying that's one of Poncho's tricks. Always get yourself multiple year calendars and look at them outside of my whiteboard, because I do have one of those too. My whiteboard. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. But on this wall over here, let me see where my finger's at. I can't even see where my finger's at. This camera's back. Okay. See that thing right there? That's my whiteboard. And it's not going to be in focus for you guys, but it has upwards of 20 items on it. It's on my door. I see it every day. For those of you having problems tracking yourself and mapping out your year and projects you want to do, that's what you got to do. Okay. So for me, in my year review, 2022 was my year of no. Poncho, what is a year of no? The year of no meant I made a pact with myself to say no to a couple projects. And you might say, Poncho, well, how do you do that? I mean, everybody can. Sometimes you take on projects that's going to take up more time for less money, and then you're taking the time away from something you're supposed to be working on. Say you're doing a children's book, but yet you're doing other people's stuff. In my case, I said, hey, Poncho, I've been really pushing this whole Poncho retrospective, this overview of my work project back. That project was 15 years old. It's been on my whiteboard for over 10 years. This was the year I said I was going to get it done. Okay. So I had to say no to this, no to that, politely. I even will say no to a job and refer another artist, because I knew that if I spent time on that project, it's coming away from the project that I need to get done. That's my note for this year, man. The year of no. Do you need a year of no? Tell me about it. Do you need a year of no? If you're out there, you want to chit chat with me, come on, go on to my Facebook page. Hey, Angelique, thank you so much. I'm just telling you, sharing what I did for the year. Yes. Hey, Miss Wise, that woman right there, Miss Wise, she was back with me back in the day. This woman right here was selling my artwork before I was selling my artwork. She used to go and take my black and white little 11 by 17 science fiction paintings down to the inner harbor and sell them to people and bring me back cash when I was in high school. Sometimes we don't realize the folks that open gateways. Thank you, Miss Wise. And really start us on a momentum. Hey, Tanya Bracy, what's going on? Hey, Tanya. Go to my Facebook page, Tanya Bracy. Click that link and come into the studio. I need to talk to you about a couple things. I know you got your head thing on. You might have your fuzzy slippers on. But artists need to hear what you got to say. Hey, I usually count this every year to write appointments on. Hey, thank you so much. This is my auntie right here. My auntie is probably the most supportive family member I have, and she comes to all my events. She's always been supportive of what I do. Hey, auntie, the calendar is sold out. That was another year in review. The calendar sold out, I think, about a week ago. So if you're looking for the 2023 calendar, it is gone. Tanya Bracy, calling Tanya Bracy. Come on in the studio. Hey, y'all, what we got here? No is a complete sentence. Thank you, Miss Pia McLean. You're absolutely right. But the year of no was important to me because it allowed me to reshuffle what I was supposed to do. Okay. Now, guess what, y'all? This year will be the year of yes. Because the major project I wanted to get done was my book. Okay. But with my book, I knew that if I took the time to do the book, it would open up other opportunities for me. It will open up opportunities for my exhibitions. It will open opportunities for speaking engagements, and it will open opportunities for book signings. And so my year really was pretty packed with all of those types of events. So there's a method to the madness, but you got to sit down and figure out what projects you need to implement for yourself to get you ahead, and don't get so caught up in the immediate money or the immediate creative cycle that you're in, and kind of look down the road to see what you need. I'm encouraging all of you and challenging all artists. Excuse me for keep wiping my nose on the air, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm challenging all of y'all to tell your story. My book started as telling my story. It was, I had been lecturing, I have been speaking, telling people the journey that I've taken to be a professional artist. Not to say that everybody's got a model after me, but sometimes you don't know what artists did, and it might spark, oh, okay, that sounds like something I would do. One of my artist friends, I found out, we kind of went through a similar path, and we found out we one day apart from each other. That's Mr. Kenneth Gatewood. That's my boy. That's my big brother. But we both were sign painters at the same time. We came through, made transition into illustration, and ended up in the fine art, and ended up on the same track at the same time. Because artists come from different walks of life. So, I mean, that's part of the deal, is realizing where you're coming from and where you want to go. My year of review was pretty cool. So the book was a very, very important project. That ran, I was actually having proof sent to me in Africa to approve to get the print job done, okay? When I did my book, I was kind of stuck because it was during the COVID time, and printing plants were closing. The economy was kind of screwed, so prices were getting more expensive. Many people in the printing industry retired. Other people lost their workforces. Some of my suppliers, I had somebody early who commented about my ponchos. My ponchos manufacturer shut down. So I was forced to find a way to implement my book and to get it printed to the level that I wanted it printed. And I ended up printing overseas. Yes, I did. If you don't like it, I don't care. It's part of the deal. I'm here to educate. I found out that I could get twice the quality for half the money. And every company in the United States has been taking advantage of that. So why should we suddenly be frowning our noses up about printing overseas? They produce 95% of the stuff we wear every day. So when people give me that attitude, I'm wondering where they coming from. It's like, you really ain't getting it. But my bigger point is, I was able to produce the kind of book I wanted, the quality that I wanted, and we have really had a great reception. If you got a book and you like the book, hey man, go to my Facebook page, hit one of those links, come and talk to me about the book if you want to. I'm trying to stimulate a dialogue here as much as I can in my year of review show. Because a lot of things happened. The book was the major thing that happened for me. Got a couple people that have chimed in online. My man Sekou, well, I saw a message here of Sekou a little earlier. Sekou said, hey, You know, I retired from doing shows. I'm making custom work though, so keep up your good work. But thank you. So, Sekou Ra is one of the baddest silversmiths, jewelers, or whatever his title is, that I know. He made a real handsome ring for me. But yeah, Sekou Ra, I'm with you. I haven't done those road shows in 5 years. It was my plan that by the age of 60, I was going to pull off of the road. It's nothing wrong with the road, y'all. If you younger, if you 30, 40, 50 and need to get your stuff out there and you got the energy to travel the country, because that's how we got our success, was hitting the road. These people like Sekou Ra and these other folks were hitting shows all over the country. These guys lived on the road. They were doing 3 events a month. That's 36 times they were away during the year. Okay. So let's see who's coming in here. I got my big brother Ricky tuning in. Big brother Ricky and I go way back. He's a 50-year relationship. But I want to bring him in. He might have some things he wants to share. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Toombs?
Well, hello, my brother.
All your technology together. What's happening, brother?
Not much. I was actually I've been on, but I couldn't link in until I said, well, okay, I got to try something new.
Well, so it looks like you figured it out. You sound good. You look good. You painted your wall orange just for me or something back there.
Yeah, and kind of matches the purple too.
So what's up, man? Talk to me.
Not much. I'm just hanging in there, just listening to you, getting some perspective.
Okay, well, share some of it. You know, we got people here that's listening to my year in review. My brother was just here. He was at my look. Some of y'all gonna go on Facebook and see I found out about my secret 60 soiree that happened a couple weeks ago, and it was really outstanding. I had a 5.0 that I thought was the best thing I had ever had, but my 6.0 was really off the chain. But what's going on, Rick? Talk to me a little bit, man. What you got? I think Ricky might own the most books. He's one of my friends. I think he bought either 4 or 5 books.
I bought 5.
I think as another guy named William Jones, y'all might be neck and neck. So hopefully y'all giving them out to people. But talk about the book a little bit, Rick.
Well, I think that for those who don't know, it paints a really detailed picture of my brother's life, his influences. And as I was reading it, I kind of thought back to, when we first met, us being on the porch and drawing, just playing, just hanging out. And
in the book, you'll hear me mention a guy named Eric, and that we used to draw together. That's this guy. He's the guy. And I say that because your influences come from different places. My dad was a second generation artist, but my dad was a teenage parent. So to be honest, his attention span probably where it should have been at that particular time. But Ricky was actually the person that drew with me. So I mean, but go ahead, Rick. I just wanted to give people a little bit more information about our connection and influence.
Yeah, and it had to be sometime around 1970. So actually, that would kind of put us at almost basically 52 years.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. Well, you up there. I think you are the undisputed oldest friend that I have. And if Mike Maben is looking, he gonna be pissed off. Now, I'll be surprised if Mike don't try to bust in the show. I got another friend named Mike Maben, and they're debating on who's known me the longest. We haven't really clarified it yet, but I know that I spent more time with this brother right here.
There you go.
Well, thank you for chiming in, Rick. Go ahead. Right. What were you saying? Let's say it again.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, just when we met and where you are right now, it's quite obvious because I remember the first time. And back then, you weren't. We weren't artists. We just knew how to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came into their house and I saw all of the paintings, I was speechless. And the first thing I did, because my brother could draw as well, first thing I did was run home and I told my brother of the artwork that I saw. and how it was mesmerizing. It was like walking into a museum. Everything was up, and I'm just looking around.
So he's making reference to my father's art.
Yes.
And I had artwork in my room too. So we had art all over the house.
Right.
It's just no way you can get around it.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised.
So drawing from comic books, this guy right here, he had me drawing from comic books, and that led from one thing to another thing to another thing. But yeah, man, I just wanted to say thank you, brother. I'm glad you tuned into the show to speak with me a little bit. Y'all need to know a little bit more about me. This is my real brother right here, you know.
There you go.
So I love you, man. He's also my shooting range partner. So y'all can't mess with us now. If you don't believe me, go to my Facebook page and you can see the sharpshooter over here.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, Rick, man, you take it easy, brother.
All
we'll
right.
be talking soon, man.
Okay.
Take care now.
Okay.
Friendships go a long way, y'all. Friendships go a long way. Mentorship goes a long way. Sometimes you don't know what impact you have on somebody's direction. You can make a difference in somebody else's direction. I'm going to bring my other artist mentee in, Miss Tanya Bracy. She had a time to go get her hair combed and everything. So I'm going to give a couple more seconds. Yeah, she's letting it down now, y'all. So here we go. What's up with your microphone?
That is totally
I'm getting some kind of feedback. I'm getting some feedback from your how you doing, Miss Brady?
Hold on.
She trying to watch the show and talk on everything.
I took care of it, son.
What's going on, lady? You had a very busy year.
I'm working it out.
You are working it out. I've seen you at least 3 places. You're representing the Baltimore Washington International Show.
It's so exciting. Like it's super. It really is. I just think that it's really about what you said. It's about getting out there.
I hear something else playing in your background. I still hear something playing. I still hear another audio in your background. Another unit is on. Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So what were you saying, darling?
I was just saying it's
I
really
started mentoring.
just being consistent.
I started mentoring Tanya about what, a year and a half ago, a year ago?
Yep. About a year and a half ago.
And she's been making great progress with her work. My whole goal is to mentor as many artists as I can. We just lost Tanya, so she'll probably come back in. But mentorship has been very, very important to me. In my year overview, that's something that's still very strong. I spend a lot of time with artists that are on all different walks of life in this business, give them whatever instructions they need to succeed, because every artist is not the same. So you got to kind of tailor each of your bits of information to the artist. That's one of my skill sets, is just listen to what they want to do, looking at where they are in their life, and giving them a couple of shortcuts to succeed in what they do. I'm very good at it. It's just one of my other abilities other than painting. I think that one thing I learned early is the creative spirit, how it works, some of the pitfalls of being creative, understanding that depression is part of what we do, understanding that we're secular, we live in cycles, we operate a particular way, we feel the world different. I can tell by looking at an artist's portfolio aspects about the person. And I've been doing that really for years. That's one of the things I used to do when I would travel the country doing these portfolio reviews. I would have some people's children crying because they would come in and I would read their portfolio, look at their portfolio, and I would look up at them and tell them parts of them that they didn't know I could see, and they would just start crying. And so mentorship for me is important because I really understand the core of what artists need to succeed. I'm gonna see if we can get Tanya back on. How you doing, Tanya?
Hey, here I am.
So talk to me, baby. What you got to say?
Well, let me just say that I really appreciate all of the guidance that you gave me. It was like what I really needed at that point, and it helped me find a path to get on and get working. And I'm finding it's about, not just getting out there, but, developing relationships and, formulating bonds. And like you said, like supporting other artists. And it's turned out to be a really interesting journey.
What's so wonderful is that what you just said, it demystifies your life, because until you really start working with other artists, buying work from other artists, fellowshipping from other artists, some of the concerns you may have had when we first started mentoring disappeared, because you were subtly with a group that understood you and you could react to them on a level without having to justify who you were to them. A lot of you out there got friends that are not creative. I'm not saying that we're better than anybody, but if you're an artist and you got 4 friends that aren't, you are spending more time justifying who you are to them just to have a regular conversation. Whereas if you had all your friends that were artists, you would not be wasting any time. They would understand you and support you and feel you, because it's spiritual, feel you differently. And so I've been trying to also tell artists they got to be careful who they surround themselves with, not just in mentorship, but making sure you have enough creative energy around you. And I know the power of creative energy. So I'm glad you were able to venture out and do that. She came to one of my book signings when I was at Cheney University. Whoop, whoop. I think that was that's the first time we met in person, because all of our consultations, she was one of the artists that took advantage of my consultation. I offered consultations on my website at larryponchabrown.net. If you look at artist consultations, she was one of the people that took advantage of that program, where I basically talked to her. I wrote down all of her specs of what she does, how she does it, to try to write, kind of give her a guideline of what to do. As a matter of fact, the book that I use, I still have by my desk. This is my Tanya Bracy page, where I asked her questions about how many years she's been doing it. I asked her how old she was, how many children she had, how many Facebook friends she had, how many Instagram friends she had, and some of the homework assignments I gave her. I'm not going to disclose the amount of money she made those people, but I even have that here too. So I want y'all to know, Poncho not playing when he takes on this mentorship.
No, he is not.
And I will call
he's a taskmaster. He's a taskmaster.
And we have at least one come to Jesus meeting a year, at least.
Yes.
I think we had one this year.
I feel like we had. Oh my God, that was a serious comment. I thought about that, and I thought about it. And you gotta go through a process, because first you be like, what? And then you be like, what? Who do you think he is? And then you be like, you ride it. Then you be like, okay, how I'm gonna fix it? What I'm gonna do?
That's what it's all about. I mean, it's about, I'm trying to give you a shortcut to demystify how the business works. And I know I can do that for people. And then I thank people like you for trusting it in me, because it's no good if you don't trust it.
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate you on all your successes this year. Keep on track. In 23 is supposed to be a bad year.
Oh, yeah.
Get busy.
I'm excited.
They are waiting for you.
Yeah.
What's your goal board look like?
So I got 2 solo shows. I got a group exhibition along with like some regular art fairs I'm gonna be a part of. And I was thinking, just like you said, Mr. Larry, like there's some stuff I gotta just say no to. I can't go to every little thing. Like I started creating the book after we talked. Like keeping track of what I did, what I made, like thoughts that I was having about the show, and make it like very conscientious decisions on what I was going to involve myself in and how to like be out there intentionally.
Well, those are all strong words. You sound like a really sharp student, girl. Woo woo! But I want all of y'all to think about, I practiced this year the year of no.
No.
Some of y'all need to make 2023 your year of no, and some of y'all need to make 2023 your year of yes. For me, I did no first to make it better for me and to make decisions in 23, which will be my year of yes.
That's
so
a good
keep it
point.
going.
I might have to say more yeses though. I'm in a different, I'm in a different category. So
trust and believe. No, hold up now, because trust me when I say.
Yes.
And while you say that, when you say no, you leave room to complete more things. You're not diverting energy and time to other things. And if you got a job that you know is going to use up your time and not give you the money you need, refer to another artist. There's ways to do it, but trust and believe. You got some things you can say no to already that will completely change the momentum of your year.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard. It's hard. That's why I started with the year of no first, because everybody don't have a problem saying yeah. But most of us have a problem saying no.
Saying no. Yeah.
And then the question becomes, what criteria of things become no? Which things were a waste of time? That means you got to really sit down in this last week of the last 2 days and say an honest list of what did not work in 2022. That's where you start. This didn't work. This didn't work. This didn't work. Look at what kind of projects they were. What happened? Was it because you didn't research and you jumped? Was it because of X, Y, and Z? That's where you start with your year of no, because like if an event come up and you haven't surveyed the event, you haven't gotten any information on the event, then you probably shouldn't have sent no money to them to do the event. That means you take time, you put a list of things to hit the C and research, but there's always places where you can say no. And when you do that, you free up your own time.
That's valid. That's valid.
So thank you, darling. I appreciate you tuning in. Anybody else that's brave out there, come on in. I got a link to on my Facebook pages. Come on in, talk a little bit about your circumstances, whether you like my book, what's going on. This is my year in review show.
See you, Mr. Larry.
Bye-bye now. So yeah, I appreciate that everybody sharing their little tidbits on what's going on. I'm going to take the time right now to show you a little bit of something just to give you a little break while I come back to the show and talk to you about, hey, it's about making plans for the coming year and doing some things a little bit different. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to show you a couple of images. I'm coming right back. So y'all, in my year in review, I'm up to March now because January and February is pretty much my work in Africa that really manifests into a lot of other things. By March, I was seriously in high gear. The book was kind of in production. I had gotten a couple of proofs done and other things done. I'm encouraging all artists to really look towards creating, doing books. I put the process off of doing my book for almost 25 years. It's a lot of time. You've been doing this business for 20 years, 25 years. You got enough work, 70 images, 80 images. You want to tell your story about how you made it through as a single mother, how you made it through as a whatever. It's time to write your stories down. It's time to think that way. And I'm telling you, doing books will open avenues to other things. If most of you are not doing videos, do more videos. I have a hacked YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, put Poncho Brown. If you watch the show, just hit that button to subscribe and the bell, and whenever new stuff comes, you'll see it. Got lots of content. I'm going to be creating more and more video content in 2023. I think people really appreciate getting this other level of information. But I'm encouraging all of you to take advantage of, what's this again? Technology, y'all. So yeah, March, I got the book in production, and by the end of March, I got my first actual copy of the book, my first finished copy of the book. It wasn't bound yet, but they sent me all of the printed pages, got to review the book, but I also started my marketing campaigns and other things while this stuff was happening. So that was my March. You know, you might say, Poncho, well, I'm not in a position to do a book. I don't have enough book. People don't know who I am. People don't, I'm not ready for a book. I said all the same stuff to myself, y'all. The most magical thing that happened to me with preparing my book was I went on Kickstarter.com, which is a crowdfunding site. If you don't know what a crowdfunding site is, look it up. It's a way for you to have your friends and supporters support you by donating or giving you money towards your project. And then you give them trinkets. Like I gave them cards, t-shirts, and other things. I promised them a copy of the book or whatever. But I underestimated myself by doing a campaign for $10,000. Now, in Kickstarter, you can raise over the amount. But I put 10,000 with the expectation of putting 10,000 of my own money in. And so I started the campaign. In 30 days, in 7 days, we raised $10,000. So I raised all the money that I thought I needed in 7 days. By the 14th day, we had raised $20,000. By the third week, we had raised $30,000. And so where I was wondering where the money was going to come from, my supporters, and I'm talking about 250 or so people, supported my my campaign. Now it's like it's almost like GoFundMe, but don't ever do something like this on GoFundMe. GoFundMe is when your cousin Earl died and he ain't got no money to get buried. Okay. And it doesn't have an exchange system. You're just basically saying, give me the money, give me the money. Kickstarter and Indiegogo both for places where they get something in exchange for their donation. It's a relationship building kind of an exchange. So I encourage you, if you have never tried it before, in 2023, launch your first Kickstarter campaign or Indiegogo campaign. If you need help with it, I am an expert in it. So you can contact me through my email. Say this is when you want to do it. I will coach you through it. There's no charge. It's part of what I'm offering for next year for certain people. Do not call and waste my time. If you ain't serious about getting something into production, this ain't for folks that's projecting getting something done. This is for folks that's serious, that have stuff in play and they're ready to move. I can help you if that's what you want to do. So I want to give you as many of the things that were highlights from my year in review. But that Kickstarter campaign was very, very crucial to me doing what I needed to do with my project. You can no longer say I don't have the money if you have the following. The following that we have and that we benefit from was something that artists never could participate in before. We had no way of really tracking the people that bought from us. And with social networking now, you can have those followers follow you. Those people follow you for life. Even when they're not buying something, they're going to be tuning in. And so I'm trying to get artists to really understand what that environment is, because it's got a lot of fakery to it too. You know, the worst thing, I can tell you the worst experience I had this year, and one of the noteworthy lessons I learned this year, is that there's a such thing as a virtual participant. A virtual participant. So say, for instance, I did a show on Eventbrite or Facebook events, and I put it up and I give the dates of the show and all the PR stuff, and it's free. People will go in and they'll start saying, oh yeah, oh my, I'm Poncho, so let me put my name and address. Oh yeah, I'm there. They had no intention of coming, but it's a virtual, yes, I'm with you, which is horrible. If I got 175 people from from one of those event situations, and I buy food for 75 or 50 of them, and then 25 people show up, and you got a list of virtual people, that's a problem. And that's a trend that's changed, because before I used to get more reaction from my Facebook events and more reaction from my Eventbrite events. Am I saying don't use those events? I'm absolutely not saying that. That's a great way to gauge interest in what you're doing and to see where your marketing is going. But it's virtual, so you got to be careful. You don't borrow money on the house because you got a couple names lined up. You just have to kind of keep nurturing that to see. I think one of the shortcuts I think I've learned is free events are invitations for people to be virtually participating. So I think I'm probably better off charging a fee. I'm just giving you some notes of what I learned. Maybe it'll help you next year as you do your events. I was better off charging $5 if you enter. Because the person's not going to play and spend $5 and don't show up. They got to get their credit card out to make it happen. Whereas free is like, oh, you know, I love that Poncho. That's not good. If you are a virtual participant out there, stop it. Please stop it. We love the participation, but you hear what I'm saying. I just pitched and told you why it's good and why it's bad. We can all do better, but that environment is there to benefit us. You just got to kind of know how it works. I'm saying, Larry Poncho Brown is saying that the virtual participant was one of the downfalls of 2022 because I hadn't anticipated what that actually is. I've seen it in other places, but the trend now is that people do it just to show that they're present. And if you're doing it, my advice to you is stop. Send me a love letter or something. You know, I appreciate you, but I like to know better who's coming and who's not. But I'm gonna get off that subject. This is my year in review. So that's what I did for March. March was pretty much in preparation for the book. So when I started doing my book, the first thing that happened was the price. I had done another prior book the year prior, 2 years prior, with a lady by the name of Dr. Sheila Wright. Sheila Wright was on the show earlier. Hey, shout out Sheila did a book about collecting art, and she did a great, masterful job of writing how to collect and how to go about participating in auctions and all kinds of stuff. It's about 170-page book, softbound. I'm not going to disclose what she paid for the book, but it was she ran 1,000 copies, and she started doing speaking engagements and other things. And she's part of Wondrous Works LLC. If you want to join her art collective club, check her out. But that book price doubled, and they couldn't guarantee me the quality of her book for my book. So I charged myself to find a company. The people who had been doing my printing got the book. They panicked because of the budget. And they said, Poncho, we don't even know if we can handle this book. And I said, well, what's going on? Talk to me. They said, well, I'm not sure. And they explained to me about the economy and the prices going up. They explained to me that the people were retiring and the workforces were being let go, and that, they couldn't guarantee the quality of the book, which was, for me, for that kind of money, you're talking about $40,000. You can't play with that. So I was like, well, maybe I need to make another decision. So talked to a few of my colleagues. Talked to another artist by the name of Lemuel Gatewood. Thank you, Lemuel. Shout out to Lemuel. Lemuel gave me the name of a person he had just met. There was a print broker out of Seattle. I talked to them, asked them to send me samples of their art books. They sent me 2 books back, one of which was the Afrocobra catalog. And I had just participated in the Afrocobra show the last time I went to Art Basel. And the book wasn't finished yet. So to get that book in the mail was a serious confirmation that I was on the right track. And everything else went well. The book went through, was produced. It was actually delivered to us on 7 pallets. These books end up being £5 a piece. Because we raised so much money, I was able to upgrade the book. I was able to do a hardbound cover. I was able to do 256 pages. I was able to take it from 170 images to over 300 images in that book. And I think that everybody's been going so far. They've been, the book was received well. It's been selling well, and it's going to take me into 2023. Hey, if you got some shouts, give me some shouts. Thank you. Hey, Pamela Hills. Pamela Hills laughing because she thinks I'm crazy, but I am a little crazy. Hey, Auntie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, you always are the wind beneath my wings. What's that? That's right, y'all. Y'all need to connect. I want all my artist friends to correct. You know, this is a real situation here. Hey, what's going on? Kevin Johnson, another artist extraordinaire. He loved the book. Thank you so much, man. That means a whole lot. Whoop whoop, I'm sure is in relationship to the crowdfunding response. Pamela Hills, you got the Patreon page up. It's looking good. I saw it today. I'm challenging you to do a major crowdfunding campaign. I will help you. Come up with the right product, come up with the right thing. Let's get started in January so you can put your first campaign up. I'm guaranteeing you will do well. Yeah, she said I love my book. It's beautiful, glossy, and lots of pictures. That's right, y'all. That's what I was shooting for. Oh, this is Dr. Gabrielle Lynn McLemore. This is my girl. She's another artist. She's a fantastic supporter. She was also at my secret soiree, 6.0 soiree a couple weeks ago. I got a great circle of friends, y'all. Kevin Robertson. Look, see, look. This is what I'm talking about. The Robertson brothers are twins. And there was a time I could tell them apart. And because we don't see each other that much, I don't get to see them that much. But they're identical twins. If you can think of two very intelligent militant brothers that look alike. And the worst part is when they stand like on both sides of you, because you can get real kind of screwed up because they're just that sharp. I love these guys. They're supporters of my work. When I had my fire in 1995, the Robertson brothers bought me a tool kit, which I still have today. It was the second thing that replaced what I lost in the fire of 1995 at my studio. The first thing I received was from the guest earlier. My brother Rick bought me an air compressor, which is still under my drawing table. I care for all of those things because that's the kind of kindnesses out there. But this is the Keith and Kevin Robertson are my guys. That's right, y'all. So if you got something you need to say, I know I've been on for about an hour, but I don't have no limitation, y'all. If you got something you want to share with me, we got a lot of people who showing love out there. Just come on in the studio, go outside, click that, go to my Facebook page, click that link, come into the studio, chit chat with me for a minute. If you're an artist in particular, if you have my book in particular and you just want to chit chat a little bit, do that, because this is my year in review show. I'll give you little tidbits of the things that worked, the things that did not work. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that everything that Poncho does is perfect, because it's not. There's a such thing as distraction. So there were two major things that should have gone down this year that didn't go down this year because I was so busy. I'm going to use the word busy because busy doesn't mean productive. I had a major exhibition happening, group show at the Noise Museum in Cincinnati. When was that? Kansas City, Missouri. They don't do a lot of black exhibitions, so they hooked up with an organization led by Sonny. What is Sonny's? I forgot Sonny's name that quick, but Sonny was the person that oversees this chapter of this organization. So they made an arrangement with the museum to do an exhibition featuring African-American artists. Charles Bibbs, a bunch of other folks were invited. I was invited. I got distracted in my schedule. I was doing the book. I was doing other things. I didn't get my piece there in time. Hey, so I'm not practiced. I'm not perfect. I'm just letting you know the things that happen in the course of an artist's life. So they gave me some pressure. My work was the last one to arrive. They gave me an ultimatum. Hey, if you don't get it here, we can't treat you like we can. I can't treat you any different than we treat the other artists. We have requirements. And I was just like, year of no, that's okay. I backed out. You know, I left it in the box. There's going to be some times things move against your schedule. You got to realize your power. As far as I was concerned, this museum was exploiting, trying to show that they are supporting black art. So I'm not mad. I'm glad you did the show. I'm glad my artist friends benefited from it. But you know, you're going to have times in your career where things are going to overlap, and you got to make a decision what's in the best interest of you. But please don't bow down to nobody. They need you more than you need them. That's all I'm going to say on that subject. But that's what's up. So yeah, I had a couple opportunities that I blew up on this year that worked for me or didn't work for me. I also was a runner-up in the Baker Award in 2019, but in 2022 they selected me. But this is the Baker Award, is one of the largest awards in Baltimore City. We have the Rubies and the Baker that award Maryland artists. So they selected me, and then what happens is that typically they will pick one artist from each discipline. That'll be 6 artists that receive $10,000. That's the normal award situation. So when I had the runner-up year, I beat out 800 other people to get to that step before I didn't get selected. So no, I don't get selected for everything. I just want you to know that, because a lot of times things are moving. Y'all don't know what's happening and what's not happening. So this year, because of COVID hitting and they wanted to award the artists rather than giving 6 artists $10,000. They said, well, wait a minute, why don't we just take all of people who are the finalists, which is 36 people, and let's divide it amongst them, the pot of money, let's divide it amongst the 36 people, and they'll all be winners. Now, you know how I feel about both teams getting trophies. I don't like that. Yeah, there's a lot of things I could feel. I could tell you how I really feel. But the reality is, they had a choice to give me the $10,000 award a couple times. I've been in this city for 40 years. So I don't know what factors made you pick me 2 years in a row, but for you to actually give me $2,500 versus $10,000 and then cut me out of all the other things that the awardees would have won, that's the kind of stuff that happens in the art scene that y'all don't know about. So yeah, I won the Baker Award. I can proudly say I won it, but they didn't feature me on Maryland Public Television like they featured the other artists. They didn't notify me these things were happening. They had an exhibition at the BMA, the Baltimore Museum of Art, which is supposed to be the place where the awardees are exhibiting their work. They said, no, unless you won the full award, we selected another pool of people. So there was still divisiveness in the process of trying to be diverse and show some equity. And I still got the raw end of the stick. So I'm thankful that I won the award. I'm thankful that I was honored in that way. But y'all don't know what the world is like out here with this art thing. Y'all see me out here flowing, and y'all think things are all green lights. Sometimes you get a kink in the rug, and sometimes you get a red light. So I don't want to give you my year in review and just talk about the things that work. I want to also tell you some of the things that didn't work and some of the things that I didn't do right, because that's part of the game. It's about transparency, y'all. We can keep playing games if you want, but if you want to live under some facades, do that. I did that for 2/3 of my career. I'm past facades now. It's about truth at this point. And that's why I spend so much time with artists, because I feel like there's some things I can impart to them to stop them from going through some of the stuff that we all got to face. Racism is alive and well in the arts, y'all. The Baker has given more awards to artists, that white artists, than artists of color, hands down. Now, are they inclusive? Yeah, they're inclusive, but I'm still never going to be impressed. As a matter of fact, I can look back less than 4 years ago when they had almost all white selectors for the award. Has black artists ever won? Absolutely, they have. But as far as I'm concerned, they could never do enough, and the politics is still alive and well. So I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm just sharing with you some of the inside things, what's going on. You got to let it keep it moving. My year in review, so I'm up to like I've been talking and letting people in. I ain't got no limitation on how long this show goes. So here I was, I'm in April now, y'all. By the time I got to April, I was doing some traveling here. I was doing, but the Poncho-thon has been a phenomenon for me. During the year of COVID and up to now, it's been an amazing thing to partake in. Being able to reach you in this kind of format has blossomed so many ideas for me. As you saw this year, I did a couple of interview shows where I'm going to be talking to art professionals, other things. That's something that's going to be happening more in 2023. But I made more money during COVID than I made in the years prior. I said that a little earlier. But we did shows up through April, I think May. We stopped over the summer because my travel schedule was kicking back in again. So I'm telling you now, We will be resuming Poncho-thon in 23. Probably not in January, probably more like February, March. Be looking out for. We'll be doing that again. We have a lot of fun on that show. You got a chance to get some partake on some serious things, good deals, good gifts. You get a good run on the year. We typically run this show for like 8 months. I would imagine out of 12. Okay. Sometimes if I got a really busy traveling schedule, I might switch things up a little bit. But Poncho-thon will be back in 2023. So I don't know if y'all know that, but this year we made it up to Poncho-thon number 80. And that's been over a 3-year period. So then by the time I got to May, I was dealing with some other stuff. Poncho-thon was going live and well. I was starting to feel a need to see what was happening. So by the time I got to May, my friend Charlie Palmer and Wack and Eugene Bird were having a print show, a limited edition show in Atlanta. And I got myself some Southwest tickets, got my ass on a plane, flew down to Atlanta just for 3 days, just to see what they were doing. Hey, y'all, sometimes we get so twisted up in what we're trying to do that we don't take time to survey what's happening. And one thing Poncho has always done is survey what's happening. He's always looked at what's coming down the road, how things are converging, and making adjustments to make it past whatever period is coming next. We'd have made it through the big implosion of the 2000s. I made it through fires. I made it through all kinds of other stuff. This whole art business has been a bunch of trial and error. So what I'm saying to you is that that's how I keep my information up, right? So I decided to jump on a plane. I went down to see the show. They have a place called Future Gallery. If you're ever in Atlanta, go down to the Underground. Beautiful gallery. I might be showing there in 2023, 24. I'm still working some things out to see what's happening. And it was wonderful to meet the Atlanta artists, how close they are, how they network. They were very respectful of seeing me and made me feel very special coming down to join them. But the two artists that I'm watching the most, and you can watch them too, is Kevin Wack Williams and Charlie Palmer. These guys are amazing me, you know, because they're doing some crazy stuff. When I say crazy, there are things that artists were able to participate in, and there were things that we weren't able to participate in. And then there's a group of artists that just make things happen based on the time that they're in. These two guys are the guys that I look at. Charles Bibbs is one of those people, but if you want my immediate 1-2 list, it would be Wack and it would be Charlie Palmer right now that I think everybody should be watching. Watching what work they do, how they're planning their events, what quality of work they do, how they market themselves on social networking. You can learn a little bit from each one of them. I was very, very impressed by the show. I was very impressed by how it was presented. The price points, I went to see what the price points looked like for what they were trying to do. I think the average piece in there was about $3,500 or something like that. But these were all reproductions, G-Clays on canvas, embellished canvases. I need to see that because I'm in Baltimore. You know, sometimes I'm in DMV. I'm close to a lot of different cities, so I get a lot of information at one time. When I say DMV, I mean District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia. I'm so close to these areas that I get exposed to a lot of stuff. So I need to go outside of my area every now and then to see what's going on. And those two guys in the Atlanta market, really something to see. I also got a chance to go to G Baby's artist collective, her in Conyers. G Baby is a beast. She's one of my artist friends. We go way back. She's doing a lot for artists down in Atlanta. She's doing a lot to pull artists and crafts people and artist centers together down in Atlanta. She bought a building down there at Conyers, and she's been doing these shows. If you ever get a chance to get out there to go to 1010 Collective, go to G Baby's website, see what's happening. I don't know if she's still doing shows as much as she used to, but she now has a shop that's representing upwards of 20 artists. So I went out there. The same time I went to see Charlie Palmer and them in their show. And then later on, I did a book signing, which I'll talk about later on. But this is my year in review, y'all, because y'all think that Poncho just be playing around and painting on me. So, all right, so now I'm getting into July. July, I had reached Poncho-thon number 82 by July. And so we'll be probably busting 100 coming into 2023. I believe you got a number of shows so you can know what's up and see your progression. All of my shows are on YouTube. If you're trying to find any of my old shows, you're ready to do a broadcast, you want to see how to do it, what it should look like, go to YouTube, look at the Poncho Thons. If you want to see my early ones, look at a couple of my early ones and look at a couple of my later ones so you can see the transition between the two and the things we tried to do to make it a little easier for you guys to see what we're doing. So, hey, y'all, if you want to tune in, go to my Facebook page, hit that link, come on in the studio, talk to me for a couple seconds. There's a lot of people still in the studio. Some of y'all would love to hear from. Tell me about your book. Tell me about your year. Tell me about the things that you learned. Tell me about some of the things you want to see. Wendy Surgeon, hey, what's up, Wendy Surgeon? She says, wow, awesome. Thank you, Pamela Hills, for her, 80 is awesome. But yeah, no, it be at 82. But I'm not going to let you catch me. I think you might have caught me, though, because you broadcasted for the entire year. Woot! You talking about woot. That's not easy to do. Kabibi Jonko is another one of our people that's on the broadcasting thing. So she's been doing a lot of shows. She's got off. You're doing promotion. She's been doing exhibitions. So I'm sure she's going to be back on track with that. That's right. You got to. Surveys and adjusting is always a way to see where you should be. And it gives you room to create some stuff too. Thank you so much, Mr. MD Anderson. I'm glad you got my book, and he was among the people that came to my exhibition in Detroit. I did a show. I'm getting through my schedule here, so I'm gonna get back to the show. But I did a show in Detroit a few months ago. He was one of the people that came to that show. Thank you for showing up. Hey, Miss Creola Macklin, what's up? You know, I got some people that have been following me for a while, and Miss Creola Macklin, CM. Has been following me really for most of the year, if not the last year and a half. And she's come to a couple of my events and things too. So thank you so much, Miss Macklin. If you want to come on and talk a little bit, go to my Facebook page, hit that link, come on in the studio and talk to me for a minute, because y'all kind of quiet out there, but that's okay. As long as you're getting this information. I see there's quite a few people still tuned in. So that's what's up. I see an angry face from somebody. So I'm assuming that came from my description of the Baker Awards. But I need you guys to know that this business is real, and that it's divisive, and that it's still full of racism, and that, you know, artists don't fare well in juries with white folks that's in it. Brown and black people still have challenges being selected. Women are still being overlooked in juries too. There is a mad move dash to bring women to the forefront. I think it's time. The Me Too movement spawned a whole lot of things that's happening, good and bad. One of the good things that's happening is that you guys are getting more exposure. Ladies, I know I told you about my pronouns. They're going to be messed up, but you know what I mean. Don't be offended. It's an open playing field. So if you're a woman artist and you've been sitting back trying to figure out how to make this move, the time is now. Don't wait. Don't think about it. It's happening right now. Hey, if you got something you want me to know, you want me to put it on screen, just type it in the chat room and we'll put it up on the screen. I'm getting into August now, y'all. So, you know, I started my book signings probably towards the end of July. Now I got to keep, I'm making reference to my old school calendar here. So I did my first book signing in July, y'all. That was with Overdue Recognition Art Gallery, which is in Bowie, Maryland. I've had a relationship with Overdue Recognition for 30 years. I'm going to say 30 years. It's got to be at least 20 years. Probably. It might be 30. Okay. They've had 3 galleries or so over the years. They were the first stop on my book signing. That's Jackie and Derek. I'm going blank on people's names today. Thompson. Their gallery is just a phenomenal gallery. He is one of the best framers, the most decorative framers in the area. He knows his game. So if you get a chance to go to Overdue Recognition down in Bowie, Maryland, you probably have already been if you're in the DMV. Check them out. They're one of my partners. I love them much. They came to my Secret 6.0 soiree too. But my first stop was in Bowie, and so from there, I really started this whole thing. Part of the book being released is that we had to schedule book signing. So I have a couple artists out here that have materials that they're wondering how to do a tour And I didn't know how to do a tour, but for me, it was logical to go to all the people that I do business with and ask them for me to sign, can I do some books? And so I immediately ended up with a list of about 12 people that I could start with to doing those shows. And Overdue Recognition was one of the first people I called. They immediately said yes. I gave them split of proceeds. Each person has different requirements. I just try to meet the requirements, but it expands everything. And I also took some small original books with me. I have these portfolio books that are about the size of this right here. You know, these little small books, and here, like I have, I might have a whole bunch of small originals in this book. So what happens with these, I take these books, maybe one or two of these books with me when I do my book signings. And what happens? People start buying the small originals in conjunction with the book. I think at some point you got to create pathways for folks to go in their pocket. So whenever I do my book signings, I always take one or two of my loose originals, which I could drop in a bag. I could put it in my suitcase. Not have to worry about framing and offer some nominal prices. But it's a good way to promote your work and get it out there. So yeah, y'all. Who's this right here? Thank you, Miss Harris. Fist bumping, fist in the air. Thank you. I really appreciate you cheering me on. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep on doing what we do, y'all. So Overdue Recognition, that took me into July, y'all. So by the time I got into, I'm into like August. You see how fast the year going, right? All right, so I started my second book signing at Serengeti Art Gallery, and they're in Capitol Heights, Maryland. So my strategy was to do everything in the DMV, in the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia area first, because I know I got great coverage in this area. So Serengeti said, yes, let's do a book signing. Oh, by the way, we haven't done a show in 20 years. So bring me some new stuff. So we did a whole exhibition in addition to a book signing. We did an art talk and everything. So it was beautiful. It was a chance for me to reunite with them and reunite with his customers. So the book really was a great marketing strategy and marketing tool that I figured would lend itself to that. Then I took a small break. I went to Florida. If you're working hard, you got to take a break. I am most at peace by the water. And so I made it a point to get to the water because, you know, you try to go to the beach and people are all working and you wait for people. Folks want to go when you're not able to go. Then you go. So I finally decided I'm going. And in Pensacola Beach, I've been there before. I said I'm going to Pensacola Beach. Got me my favorite airline, Southwest. Some tickets, went down. Had a good time. Got to get in the water. Got to have me some New England clam chowder. Anyway, that was part of my August, my break in August. Okay, because normally, traditionally, January and August are the two slowest months for artists. In case you didn't know that. People getting ready to go, but why Poncho? Because January is right after Christmas. Ain't nothing happening after Christmas. Folks are spent out. They need to rest. They're just trying to recover. Okay, and they're trying to take a breath of fresh air for the year. August is when people start going back to school, going to college, last vacations, all that stuff. So that's also why August is not the most profitable month in the world. So those 2 months I try to either find a break, or in January's case, I always do a creative quarantine. A creative quarantine is when I lock myself away for a month and just work. Because I was in Africa this time in January, I didn't have to do that. So it was fantastic for me to be able to have that alternative. And I got to do a new body of work. But I will be painting in January because I'm not going to Africa in January this year. Hey, Mr. Robinson looked like he's trying to check in, but he's got to get his camera on. So that takes me to, man, August was kind of packed because that's when my book tour really officially was underway. I told you about Serengeti Gallery. That was fantastic. But then I went to a place in the DMV called it's called the Wellspring Manor. If you don't know about the Wellspring Manor, look it up. Wellspring Manor is an upscale Airbnb owned by a Black couple. When I say upscale, I mean upscale, okay? But they also have original works in the main house, and they have a barn that's been converted to a gallery. And so right now, the Wellspring Manor is probably the best, most unique spot to buy Black art in the area. Get a chance to do it this summer. They have an art walk once a month. I participated in them a couple times a year. It's run by a good friend of mine named Barry Blackman. So if you get a chance to check out the Wellspring Manor art walks, get on their website, check it out, be there next year. You won't be disappointed. So I did that book signing there. We sold the most books for the year at Wellspring Manor. As a matter of fact, we sold 50 books. We had to do 2 sessions. So many people were at that event. That's right, y'all. I ain't playing now. That's right. So then I tried to take another little break in the end of August because that's my flex travel month. I went to spend a little time up in Plainfield, New Jersey, up in the New York area, just to get a little break, get by the water, see the big buildings in New York. So that takes me into September, which was really when things started cutting loose because I got invited by Umoja Gallery in Detroit. We've had a relationship for over 25 years as well. They saw the book, wanted to do a book signing. They also wanted me to bring small originals there, so we ended up doing a full exhibition. At the same time, we did an exhibition of the Obama bust, Visions of Our 44th President, at the Charles Wright Museum in Detroit. And that was running concurrently with the show that I was doing at the Umoja Gallery. Okay, so I didn't get a chance to see it, but that was the second time that show has been up since it debuted about 12 years ago. So you got to see 44 busts by 44 top artists in the country doing their own rendition of this particular bust. And so that I had a very busy September. So I went from Detroit. That went well. All the time I'm trying to figure out, well, how much steam I'm going to have for the end of the year. So in October, I had already started planning a trip to Africa. So most of you, if you don't know, I began doing these Artists to Africa tours to Africa back in 2013, 2014. I went to Senegal, I went to Ghana. I partnered with a friend that the late Harold Smith, Harold Cook, I'm sorry. Harold Cook worked for Henderson Travel, which is in Silver Spring, Maryland. They had been doing trips to Africa since 1950. Okay. So I had a really, really good partner to help me organize those first 2 trips. I was still inexperienced, so I was a little nervous about them being successful. I think on one tour we might have had 10 people, on the other tour we might have had 10 or so people. And then I got out of it after Harold died. I was discouraged. I was, maybe been grieving a little bit myself too. I had one passenger who you guys probably know well, one of my partners in crime, Karen Clark, the ceramicist, who joined me on both of my tours as a guest. And I convinced her to partner with me. And we started doing tours back to Africa again this year. So that was a nice reunion. Dawn Sutherland, the lady I mentioned earlier, who's doing the housing the 300 so kids for school and helping them with their clothing and their wares for school, was also a guest on my trip, my Artist to Africa trip to Ghana the first time. So she had just beginning to retire from her job at Xerox in LA. And when we were in Ghana, she says, "Hey, you want to stop somewhere?" And I'm like, "Fantastic. I don't mind." She had already bought a property. So I got to see the property she had just bought on that trip back in 2014. Yes, 14. Or was it 13? 14. And see how much it's developed in the last 8 years is amazing to me. But people are moving and on the groove. I tell you, one of the side effects of COVID and the lockdown and what happened with Orange Face in the office and what happened with the divisiveness that began to occur around those two things, along with the BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement colliding all at one time, made Black folks say, "I'm ready to get the hell out of here. Just take me somewhere. I need another place to be. I think I need to scope out another place to be." So to make it short, we had 22 guests. 22 guests that went to Africa with us this time. My list originally was around about 85 people. And for a long time, it was around 30 people. And we were glad that it dropped to 22 because trying to manage 30 people was a lot. But my partner in crime, Karen Clark, my other partner on the other side, Uwuku Yurinki, he's one of the best tour guides in Ghana. We were able to pull together all three of our resources, and we had a wonderful trip. We're trying to get ready to do another trip for 2023 that won't be announced yet, but we're still working to make that happen. So for the first 2 weeks of October, I was in Africa with this tour with my group. It also gave me a chance to go back and touch base with the studio that I had adopted in January to see how they were doing. And it was remarkable to see how much they had improved from just a little bit of time that has been spent with them. And so I also, at the same time, began 2 drums on behalf of the Artists of Africa tour to send them supplies. Many of you helped me with that. I got 2 drums. I loaded it with art supplies, mostly acrylic paints and canvas panels, and we shipped them. And they arrived in December, just around Christmas time, November, December, which was really cool. So they're going to be painting their butts off till I come back. So that was my October, y'all. By then the year is cooking. I get back from Ghana, and then we have another book signing in Springfield, Massachusetts with Art for the Soul Gallery. She's been a partner of mine for a very, very long time. Shout out to Rosemary Tracy Woods, who's not doing too well right now, but we're cheering her on and hoping that she feels better. She's a champion for the arts. She's a champion for people of color making headway in the arts. She is not afraid to get in folks' face, and she's been an excellent partner. But she invited me down to do a book signing at her gallery. Okay, so that took me through October. So the month that almost killed me, y'all, was November. Now, I say this every now and then. I live with cancer, so I still have to do certain things to make sure that my well-being is in place. One, to keep myself enriched spiritually, to keep myself motivated, and rest. And when you're driven like I am, sometimes rest is the hardest thing to get. But I'm telling you, I'm getting really, really good at it. And so November was a testament to that, because I had my book signings had increased, and I had a major 2 exhibitions that were opening. The first thing happened was, like I told you, the 1010 Collective down in Atlanta with G Baby had me come down for a book signing. So that was the early part of November. I came straight the same weekend, flew to Cheney University in Pennsylvania, and did a book signing there. Thank you to all the people that came to that. I really appreciate you coming out to these book signings, and we're going to be really doing more of those next year. Okay, so the first big exhibition was my Black Art Today did a book signing for me. Now, Black Art Today is an organization founded by 2 of my friends, Alicia and Lisa Clark. They originally started just doing interviews with artists, and now they are like artist reps. They're doing exhibitions. They now have a current show going on the BMA. I talked to Tanya Bracy earlier. She was one of the people that was in the Baltimore Museum of Art show. They are the persons that organized that show at the Baltimore Washington International Airport. If you get a chance, you go into the international section of the airport. There's a beautiful show up now called Womanity. It will be up through, I think, the end of January, or maybe into April, if I'm not mistaken. Look it up. Go to the Black Art Today website. See when that show ends. Make sure you check it out when you're taking your flights. But I did a book signing for them at a place called Arts and Nation, which has happened down in National Harbor, which is a really wonderful space for artists that want to self-promote. They have about 8 artists' works that are on display there. You get a section of the space, which is really laid out beautifully. Wearable arts, your paintings, your prints. You get a chance to come in and represent your work on certain weekends. So they invited me to do a book signing there, which went rather well. Okay, so by the time I finished that, I was invited back again to the Wellspring Manor to do just a kind of a holiday book signing, which went really well too. And the week after that was the biggest show I've done in 20 years. And that was my Poncho retrospective exhibition. It was in conjunction with my book. it was an exhibition of about 55 of my original works that range from 19, I would say 91, all the way up to currently. That's the most originals I've ever shown in the DMV. My second largest showing of my original works was probably at the Baltimore City Hall galleries years ago. Okay. And that only housed probably around 40 pieces, and they were only musical pieces. This was a cross section of all of my work. Okay. So that's going, and that will be run and just extended that show. It's being held right now at the Sabra Forbes Cultural Arts Center. It's the founder's name is Dennis Forbes. He opened this cultural center during COVID. This man bought a multi-million-dollar building, converted it into a cultural center, and we partnered, and he wanted me to have my first exhibition there. His space, the space looks fantastic. The work looks great. If you get a chance while you're in the DMV, you're in Maryland, you want to go see a cross-section of work that's going to be extended through February, I will be announcing on my Facebook pages how long that show will run. But we did that opening on the middle part of the month, man. That was the 26th of November. And then right after that, I did a exhibition. Look, I never had two solo exhibitions open a day apart. So the next day, I opened another show, which has 40 pieces in it of the works that I did in Africa when I was there. They the ones that decided to do the Bridges Faces of Innocence exhibition for me. It's a beautiful little show. I got a chance to put all of those faces that I painted when I was in Ghana in one space. The hospital fell in love with them. They put it in two other locations, which took it from 40 pieces to 60 pieces. And now they're deciding whether they're going to extend the show beyond January 2. So, I mean, man, it's been a great year. It's been a great flow. All these things kind of go hand in hand. If you guys, I'm on my last couple minutes now. We in November. If you got something you want to say, go to my Facebook page, hit the that link that says join the show. It'll bring you into the studio. Tell me a little bit about your book. Tell me what you experienced this year. Tell me what you'd like to see me do next year. And then I'm going to wrap up by telling you my December, because you know what also happened as a result of me doing the book signing at Umoja Art Gallery in Detroit. They decided, hey, Poncho, can we take your work to Art Basel this year? Now, it's been many, many, many years since I participated in Basel. So that was a great opportunity. I had already planned to go. Look, if you're an artist and you've never been to Miami to see Art Basel, make sure you go. If you're a collector and you've never been to Art Basel, make sure you go. It is the biggest art show in the United States. In Miami, great weather, 82 degrees, beautiful people, beautiful art. I'm talking about there's more art than you'll ever be able to see in your life. Now, Art Basel is really a big convention center show. It's one major show. But what happens is that they came up with the clever idea of creating these salon shows that are themed. So there's an additional 12 shows at different other exhibition venues where you can see other art. And then in the Wynwood district, where Red Dot and Spectrum are, the Wynwood district is just an art district by itself. And they have their own convention center that was big enough to house two larger shows, and that was one of the shows I was in. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain to you how things link together, how certain relationships bridge to other relationships. You got to get involved with people. But art is a relationship business, all the way down from the people you show with to the people that buy from you. Okay, I take those relationships very, very seriously because they give me room to make my own decision and not go the traditional way of waiting for my phone to ring. I don't believe in waiting for my phone to ring. If I can lay out 2 or 3 things and I can partner with 2 or 3 people to make things happen, and I'm looking at people like Wack who's doing his own solo shows, I'm saying we have to start changing switching the paradigm. You can't keep doing things the way it used to be done. I've never been one of the people that waits for the establishment to make way for me. I've always trusted the people that follow my work and the partners that I have in the business to set my own agenda. I've been successful at doing that, and I think you could be just as successful at doing that now because the time has moved to that point. So keep it moving, keep it grooving. By the time I did those 2 shows, y'all, I was worn out. I had traveled from Atlanta to Pennsylvania to what was that? Atlanta, Pennsylvania, DC, back to Maryland. My other 2 shows were Maryland and DC, and then Art Basel in Miami. November was a killer. And so all I'm saying is that I'm not sitting around waiting. Y'all shouldn't sit around waiting as we wrap this whole thing up, because December is going to be where I started to die off of my schedule in Poncho's year of review of 2022. The Basel thing was the first week of December. It was off the chain. Total sensory overload. It was more art there than you could ever take in a weekend. But if you're there to do research, if you're there to see what's happening, if you're there to study for your craft, if you're there to see what the current trends is, that's why you need to go. You know, see what things are happening. If you see yourself fitting in that environment, the first part of buying a car or buying a house is going to look at one. Well, first part of showing in a particular show is walking through it too. I tell all my mentees, hey, don't just fill out an application and do a show. Go see the show first before you invest your money. Walk through it as a client first. Walk through it as a participant. Look and see who's there. Ask them some questions if you need to. Take some cards and call them up later and say, should I do this? Or have specific questions for them. Then do it. Because before, we give thousands of dollars for these venues that were unproven. They wouldn't advertise. We get there, we be buying art from each other. It's ridiculous. And artists are easy to prey on. So they're going to charge you $800. They're going to charge you $1,000 for a booth. Some people want $2,000 for a booth. I'll leave that where it is. Sometimes you got to get out there and see what's happening in the world to change your level. If you're not doing anything, if you're not doing group shows right now, you should be. If you don't have 12 events planned for your year, you should be. If you're not, I don't care if you're working, I don't care if you're caregiving. If you're not doing 12 events, 1 a month as a baseline, then you're going to have challenges. I really severely believe that. And there's ways to do that where you can still meet your own agenda. I know caregiving is a whole different ballgame, but I only threw that in because I know people that were in that position and they found a way to balance it. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not here to frown on anybody and or your approach. I'm here to share what I've done, how I did it, what worked, what didn't work, and to understand this thing is getting live. And the art world is about to open up. And you're either going to be part of it or you're not going to be part of it. So here we all go. We got down to, by the time I got to December, that was, I had one last thing to do, and that was a art talk at the Sabra Forbes Center where my art retrospective is. And that went rather well. I love doing art talks. I get a chance to talk to people about the business, and usually artists show up and we can vibe and talk about things. So that pretty much was my year, y'all. That was pretty much my year. And then on the 18th, the Reginald Lewis Museum held my 60th birthday party, which was really taken care of by my friend Joe Ford, my third father, and Kabibia John, who assisted him with whatever things he needed. And they gave a wonderful event. Had over 100 people show up. I had 6 women that's known me for several years. I had 6 guys that know me for several years, and they all gave, how they met. They gave a funny story, or they gave a sentiment. I was not ready for the sentiment part though, y'all. So they had me crying. I was laughing with Pamela Hills the other day. I had the Viola Davis snot string hanging down a couple times. But it was all love. Everybody wore purple. They know that's my color. That was the theme of the show. And so that wrapped up Poncho's year, his 60th year. I want to thank all of y'all for all you did to support me up to this point. I will continue to share whatever information I have with you. If you need help for 2023, hit me up. I'm elusive. but I make time for the people that deserve it. I will say that they got to make time for the people that deserve it. So I'm not the easiest person to catch up with, but if you show me you need something, you can email me at larrypunchabrown@gmail.com. You can text me if you already have my phone number, because I'm not going to make that public. Only those of you that have it, use it. And those of you that need it, ask for it. I do not answer the phone, so get ready for that. But I do make time for my artist friends and my friends. So I want to thank you again for coming in. Thank you for spending this time. We've been on for just about 2 hours, giving you an overview of my year so you can know that I am a human being. I do have failures. I do have successes. I do make strategies. I'm trying to motivate. I'm trying to encourage, because that's what people do for me. And we'll be getting ready to start a new line of shows starting up in 2023. Number one, the Poncho-thon will be coming back. Number two, the Poncho Perspective will be bringing you people from the arts, from collectors to people to do estate planning to artists. We're going to really cover the gamut next year, so you can learn a little more about this whole thing for those of you that collect art, or those of you that think about doing it, or those of you that just follows. Because without you guys, I would have no career. So thank you again for tuning in. Thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate that. I wish I had a few more brave people who would have came online, but that's okay. Y'all stuck with me. We had a nice group of people that were listening. Thank you so much, Mr. William Jones. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate y'all. I know y'all shy out there, but I want y'all to enjoy your new year. Do something that's going to roll you into 2023. Until next time, y'all, have a happy new year, and I will see you the next time. Peace.